Welcome. Welcome to the Lawyer, Money, and You. I'm Roberta Saphire, an attorney in Sharon, Massachusetts, USA.
Hi, and I'm Camille Barron. I'm a financial coordinator and a healthcare advisor, also in Sharon, Massachusetts and USA. And today, as we know and our viewers know, we are not just a local program. We've been international for several years now. And today we have a returning guest who's going to talk with us about what he's been doing and what life has been like outside of the US, particularly surrounding the pandemic that we've had and the kind of challenges that has posed.
That's a nice introduction, but I'm going to give an even further introduction. Avi, it says Avi LMY. Did I say that right, Avi?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, but he has this long name, and it's because his father, who's a brilliant sculptor in Brazil, his father always named the children after great, tell me, Avi. Scientists.
The middle name is always the last name of a scientist. My grandfather made that. Because he was a physicist, so a professor in the university, and my uncles, they all have the last names of great scientists for their middle name, and I do too.
So he has some background that he has to live up to. But I'm gonna let Avi tell you about himself.
But I want to hear Avi's middle name.
Oh, okay. After the middle name, then start with how old you are, etc., and where you live.
All right. My middle name is Sagan.
Oh, Carl Sagan?
Yeah.
The astronomer?
Yeah, and my middle name is Berkeley.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So my name is Avi Sagan Waterman de Alencar, and I am 15, and I live in southern Brazil. It is cold right now, and the name of the town I live in is Florianópolis. It's the state capital.
Well, that's good. And you live with your mother, father, and sister.
Yes.
And all the pets.
Yeah.
But let's start out. I don't know where to start. Should we start with why he's wearing a hat and what he does? Or should we start with that he goes to school in the United States and that he taught himself how to play piano himself?
Yeah.
So where do you want to start? You want to start with the hat?
We can start with that. We can start with the hats.
How many hats do you have?
I have been collecting hats for a while. Like, I've always had a few, but I never really paid attention. Oh, hats, you know what I mean? But I've always had a bunch of them. And just recently I've been counting them, and I'm up to 26, I think. I'm in over my head. So
where do you keep all of these hats?
They're all over the place, usually on my head. This one I got for my bar mitzvah. It's very nice. It's all rabbit hair.
Oh, that's pretty.
And then the inside's red.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. And then I have a bunch. Let me just cycle through them really quickly. I got a bowler. These are my favorite ones. They're the hard ones that have shape. Yeah. I have a bunch of other ones like berets and flat caps and newsboys. You know what I mean? That's the top hat.
Yeah.
And then this one I shaped myself actually, and I made the ribbon and everything. You see?
Very nice. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then this one I also shaped and made the ribbon. So this is a traditional hat of the place where I live, South Brazil. It's like a bolero hat, but
it looks like really. An Al Capone hat from the 1920s.
Yeah.
Those are very nice.
Thanks. And then this one is a traditional hat from North Brazil.
Oh.
And it's really big. It's a leather hat.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice.
They all look good on you.
They
Yeah.
do.
But those are my like harder ones, the ones that take up more space. Because all the other ones have it up stacked on top of each other because they're like soft. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
I don't think I've been counting when I say 26, I don't think I've been counting the baseball caps because they're more utility than fashion. So yeah, I like hats.
Evidently. And tell us about the music. When did you first start to teach yourself music?
So I always really loved classical music, and my parents, they bought me this guitar. I'm gonna get it really quickly. Oh no, I can't. But it was this big. It's this big. I have it still. And I got it when I was 6. And then I got a tutor. He came, and then he's like, let's learn Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. I was like, no. And then I put it aside. I was like, I don't want to learn that, right? And so 2 years ago, when the pandemic started, my dad bought me this piano, and which the computer's on right now. And then I just started playing it. I'm 2 years in to being a pianist.
And what kind of music do you play on the piano?
I love classical,
Mhm.
but I also like rock as well for the piano.
Oh, really?
Play something.
So I'm gonna play the House
Give
of the
you 20
Rising Sun.
seconds.
Oh, I love that. House of the, I used to play that on the guitar.
Yeah. That's a little piece. It repeats a lot.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
very nice.
So you
I
learned,
also-
you taught yourself to play the piano.
Yeah, mostly. YouTube helps a little bit. And I've taught myself how to like read the staff. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And a song I learned from this book is the No Cien by Eric Satie. It goes like this. And then it's like 3 minutes long, and I can play all of it.
That's
Wow.
wonderful.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's
Thanks.
wonderful.
Does anyone else in your family have musical talent?
Well, my sister, she just started to learn guitar, and guess what? With which song? Twinkle
What?
Twinkle Little Star. So
Oh,
that's ironic.
his sister's a
Yeah,
year
and
younger.
she just started.
Him. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, he's a year younger.
And
We're gonna have her on the next show. There's just so much. There's just so much. Just with Avi and with Lily, which is her name, that we decided to break it off into 2 shows. So we'll be going on. They're so talented. Avi, talk about the architecture part of you.
Well, I really want to be an architecture engineer when I am when I grow up and for my profession, because I really like building stuff, and I love making models. I've made several. I like little wooden dowels and stuff. And I brought here a little model of a boat that I made. Just so it's not really architecture engineering, but it's more engineering. But
very
I
nice.
love making things, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I on this very computer, I have a software where I've been playing a lot with some houses and stuff that I've been making. I made a little cabin and stuff. And I don't like the imperial measurement system. It's too imprecise, like foot, inches, and yards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you use?
Centigrade, you
Mhm.
know, 100 centimeters is 1 meter, and 100 meters is 100 meters, and 1,000 meters a kilometer. It's really
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
So
What do they use in Brazil?
they use centigrade. Everything in Brazil, centigrade. Centigrade means divisible by 100.
Right.
So temperature is 2. So
Mhm.
like 100, you're like dying, boiling, and then 0 is just snow. So you know what I mean?
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
It's all
Now, you
over
also,
my
as I
head.
recall, I think that I've seen some artwork that you've done as well. The sculptures.
I've done a few sculptures, not really big ones yet.
Yeah.
But I don't do them a lot.
Hmm.
I did a hand doing this, which is in my room. It looks really nice, but I didn't bring it down.
Mhm.
But I brought a few drawings here.
His
I
drawings
brought,
have been in our police offices or our friends' books.
I
Yeah,
think
I
I
made a-
remember those, yes.
I made a police cruiser.
Yeah, I remember.
So I'm gonna show you 2 right here really quickly because they're part of like one explanation. So do you see these flowers?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
rose and a hibiscus, right?
Mhm.
So those were the study, just the study for this one here, which I made my mom for Mother's Day. Wait,
Isn't
can
that
you see it?
beautiful?
Isn't that beautiful?
Look at that.
And that's my hand too.
Oh, yeah,
Really.
his hand. He
Yeah.
drew his own hand. Isn't that
And then all these
amazing?
flowers.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you. I really like hands. They're kind of a difficult subject,
Mhm.
but I like them a lot.
Mm.
I'm gonna show you another hand drawing I did. Here it is.
Oh my good, look at the detail on that.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
And
Look
I
at the pen, the pen, the feather pen.
Yeah.
yeah. But I did these a while ago. Ooh,
That's
let me
nice.
show you.
Did
I'm
we
gonna show
tell
you
you
this
that
one.
his father is a sculptor and he's
Yeah,
a brilliant one? Do you
he
work
does
with him
really big sculptures.
sometimes?
I
Oh,
do.
He does the what, 20-foot high ones?
Yeah, more even like 25. But those were the small ones that he can do really huge ones. I think we're gonna make a lot of stuff.
Hmm.
And then I do this octopus.
Oh my. Hmm.
Yeah.
Did you use a subject like a drawing of one or anything that would guide you on what?
Yes. Yes. Usually I don't. Like with the flower ones, I did a study. I looked at a few images just to know what they really look like, and then I had my hand. But then usually I just do it all from imagination. But this one, my dad asked me to draw from a photo he saw, so I did that. But this here is from imagination. Look, this here is the trail to the beach from my house.
Oh,
See?
lovely. Mhm.
It's got a few dead pine trees and stuff. And then
Yep.
in the back is the pine forest. And then I
Oh.
live further behind here.
Really? That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Thank you. Well, that's the drawing bit.
What else, what other gems can you
Mother.
reveal to us?
What'd you get from your mother?
I travel. I like to travel.
Like to travel.
Wander.
What is it like living in Brazil? What languages have you studied?
So I speak a few languages. I speak English, which is the language I was born into. And then my dad, he used to say like, hey, I'm gonna teach you how to speak Portuguese. And I'd go like, no, that language doesn't exist. I don't want to learn it, right? And then he brought me to Disney World, and I was like, oh my God. And because in Disney World, there's a lot of Brazilians. It's like where you go, if you can go anywhere.
Mm.
And so then I moved down here, and then I learned how to speak Portuguese. Like, didn't go to classes or anything. I had to learn it, but I was 8, so it worked out. And then the Spanish came with the Portuguese. I speak some Spanish, and I'm learning French in school,
Hmm.
which I can do pretty well too, because the writing is basically the same, but you just pronounce half of the words. So
Well, they're all Romance languages. And are there many French people in Brazil?
So in the north of Brazil, there's more, but down here where I live, not really. There's more Spanish down here because not Spanish from Spain, but like we're really close to Argentina.
Hmm.
So
Oh, yeah. How many years have you lived in Brazil?
7.
Since you were 8.
Yeah.
Hmm. Now you're going to school in the United States, is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes, I'm doing online school from here in the US.
Really? And how is
Yeah.
that going?
It's going swimmingly. I'm in 11th grade at 15, and
Hmm?
so it's very nice.
What is the school that you're going to online?
I'm going to ASU Prep.
That's
Hmm.
Arizona State.
Yeah, Arizona State
Is that a
University.
division of Arizona State, or is it from the Arizona Public Schools? Or how does that work? If you can,
I think it's a division of Arizona State University, but it's like high school for the university.
In preparation, a prep school.
Yeah, a prep
Mhm.
school. Yeah.
Mhm.
isn't
Now,
that
what are the
right?
schools like in Brazil? Like, if you didn't do this, you'd be going to school locally.
That's
What
a
is
good
that
question.
educational system like there?
So all over Brazil, it's different. The bigger the city, the more schools, the better the education. But here in Brazil, public school is not the way it is in the US. Public school is like if you can't go to private school. Do you know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
So I used to go to private school, and we cycled through a bunch of them. And the last one I went to was 30 minutes away from my house, and it was up and down mountains and stuff. It was a hassle to get to.
Hmm.
But basically, in Brazil, if you go to a private school, the difficulty of the education, like the level, is super high until 9th grade, right? I did 9th grade here in Brazil. I had 12 classes in a year, right?
Hmm.
And it was physics, it was chemistry, it was a bunch of things, like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And then it starts to cool down for the other years of high school. So just revisation, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And there's just a little more detail, but it's not, high school isn't like the way it is in the US here. It's just like, yeah. And also you can only go to 9th grade here in Brazil, and then
Hmm.
you can like not go to the other 3 years of high school, and it won't be illegal.
Oh, really? So
Yeah, but you have to go to 9th grade.
do local people tend to do that? Only go through 9th grade?
Well, it's not really, because I live in a very nice town, and usually if you're already going to 9th grade, you can just do the other 3.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So
Is
but-
school all year round, or is it
Yeah,
just,
it's good.
is it 8 months or?
it's so in Brazil we have so many holidays. Like we have holidays for holidays, and so it discounts a lot of time actually. And when there's a holiday on a weekend or like on a Friday, they give you the Thursday too. So a lot of time that is given into holiday. And school in Brazil is only half day in the morning.
Hmm. Mhm.
Yeah, and they still, I had 12 classes in 9th grade for only a half a day, so it was pretty packed. Like the math is like way up here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you're good at math,
I'm
obviously.
good at math. Yeah,
Mhm.
but it was hard. It was hard here in Brazil. It's easier in the US.
Yeah, compared to that, sure.
So how often do you travel outside of the town? You know, I mean, what is it like? What are the people like?
So everybody's pretty cool, but the Brazilian culture is a little different than the American culture. You know what I mean? It's like they have a way of talking and everything. It's not just Portuguese. And also, so where I live, mostly everybody's pretty educated. Do you know what I mean? So, and educated as when they went to college and that stuff. So it's a very nice city, the one I live in. And then when you leave, it's still very nice. We live in one of the most prosperous states in Brazil, you know, and it's very cute outside of my town. We just did a trip like up the mountains and everything, and there's all these little towns that were colonized by Europeans, and they all have a little theme, and it's very cute.
Interesting. It's really fascinating.
Yeah,
Now,
Yeah.
with respect to the physics, what particular areas within physics are interesting to you the most?
Well, so physics is like, I like the laws of physics, like physics is, you know what I mean? But physics is so much more that I don't even know of, you know? And also physics tells us that we only know 4% of everything that's out there. So, but I like the like space and time and dimensions and stuff. That's really cool to think about, you
Yeah.
know? But
I was reading something, I think it was in the New York Times the other day, about the theory of relativity and quantum physics. And it talked about one of them, one is really focusing on the most minute particles inside an atom, and the other is talking about the vastness of the
yeah,
multiverse, not just
well,
universe.
a
And
whole
it's
general aspect, yeah.
and it's like fusing those together to really have an understanding of it all.
Yeah, string theory. So my dad said. My dad is also he graduated in physics too. So we have some very he has a degree in physics, and we
really.
have some full conversations too.
I don't do anything with physics.
Well, we all do. We just don't
Oh,
realize that physics is
Yeah.
involved in so many things.
Y'all
Yeah,
walk.
too. Do you do, there's a whole thing coming out here now that people are, I think it's what, across the world with the Bitcoin and that stuff. Are you guys into that in Brazil?
I don't. So in Brazil they are, but I don't know about that, about Bitcoin. So can I say something cool about the little towns up in the mountains?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, please do.
So it's funny because not funny, it's interesting because our state is shaped like a pan. You have the panhandle and you have the pan here, and then this is where I live on an island. And the whole like beachy area was colonized by Portuguese, Açorians, right? And the further you go in, you get little waves of different people, you know? And then the next wave is like the next wave of mountains, you know? And it's German, Austrian, and Italian. And yeah, and we went to a little Swiss town too. But they do really interesting things there. And a lot of them came between 1870 and the 30s, which is very interesting, right? Like Germans and Austrians coming in the 30s, right? And the Italians came in 1876. That was like this big boat to them. And we went to this Austrian town, and you know what they were serving at the buffet?
Yeah.
Matzo balls.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, no, not
That's
kidding. They forgot how to do them a little bit, but they were. It was written there in like Hebrew, matzo balls.
Really?
Yeah. You
Did
know,
they taste like homemade matzo balls?
No, they had sausage in them. It was really weird.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but in Hebrew, matzo balls is kanedla, and that was what was written there, kanedla.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Well, I
But
guess
they
they
told
might not have been kosher matzo balls if they had
kosher
sausage in
matzo
there.
balls.
they had sausage in. Yeah.
Is there a big Jewish community there?
No, and that's the interesting thing. Not really.
How
I know
about Italian? What is it made?
Lots
Oh,
of
made up of
Italians.
mostly Portuguese.
where I live, it's mostly Portuguese, and then in the mountains, it's Italian and German and Austrian, and then way west is Brazilian and indigenous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very indigenous.
How long does it take to
And then it's
travel to
Argentina.
the United States? How long does it? How long a trip is it by plane?
So to the U.S. is 8,000 kilometers. I live really far down south. All right, and also the U.S. is up here in the corner, and where I live is over here. You know, you got to do all of this to get to Florida. You know what I mean? And it takes like in with flights, I think it's 16 hours, and then it's like 8 plus. It's like 8 plus. Yeah, not 8 plus 8, but like 8 plus 4. Do you know what I mean? Because you got to take a really long plane and then a few other shorter ones. It depends on where you go. In Phoenix, to get to Phoenix, it takes 16 hours without
16 hours.
layover.
What's amazing is that in today's world, you can get there by Zooming like we are, although my computer stops half the time. It's really fascinating. What we only have a few minutes left. What I want to point out to our viewers is that Avi, again, is only 15, and yet he talks as if he's he got so much talent and knowledge, and he expresses himself beautiful, and we're so proud of him. And at this point, I will also like to say that he's my nephew. He's my niece's son, my niece Rachel, who it's funny, but she went to school in Normal, Illinois. Remembering that, but they're just a talented family. They're absolutely brilliant, and I thank you so much for sharing with us, as you usually do. Camille, you can wind up whatever you want to do.
Oh, well, this has been so fascinating. I've known Avi for quite a few years, as I've been in some of the family gatherings, Roberta, and I've always thought he seems so mature. You may be a certain age chronologically, but you seem so much older and more mature. And we've always been impressed with that. And I'm just happy to hear that you're doing so well. I know you're going to be very successful in life. To our viewers, I hope that you've enjoyed this little glimpse into life in another country outside of the US and this remarkable young man. If you'd like any more information, please let us know. We'd love to hear from you, because remember, this is your show, the law, your money, and you.